Student Association President, Erin Truex, started PUC at the bottom but worked her way up to the top by her senior year. Erin started as a sophomore in Senate, then was elected Executive Vice President of SA. Then last year, finally, she was elected to President. Now, after a full year of presidential duties, Erin is graduating in just 2 weeks. Erin recently sat down with me to talk about the highs and lows of her presidency, one of her pet projects as president, and the danger of student apathy here at PUC.
It's a little overwhelming, to be honest. I think that's my first thought. I was actually just working on an article for the Campus Chronicle talking about my last 2 weeks. And I think the biggest thing is I'm a little bit relieved, but I'm also a little sad. I'm not going to be able to come back to this place. There's definitely that familiarity that I really appreciate about PUC. And so it can be a little overwhelming realizing that it's about to come to a close, but there's a little bit of relief too. So it's kind of mixed emotions. As president, I think number one, what I want to highlight is just my ability to work with my team. I really appreciate my team. I think that's what has made us effective, and I definitely think that's the number one thing that I really want to emphasize is my ability to work with them. I know it's not a specific project, but it really bleeds into everything that we do. In regards to my role as president, I think my number one pride and joy would be the SA Undergraduate Research Fund, which was created this year to help foster student research both on campus and off campus. And another major point that we really highlighted this year was Pioneer Posse. So Midnight Madness, getting a lot of attendance at games. So that was another major project that I really focused on as president. I actually prepared a research project, and as we were preparing that, my partner couldn't afford to go. So if our poster was going to reach presentation level quality, she would not have been able to present with me. And so I really was upset because we have all of these great projects. We're working really hard to make a name for ourselves and ultimately make a good name for PUC. And that just drove me to see what we could do. So I contacted Nancy LaCourte, and she basically said, absolutely, you can create a fund. You tell us what you want and we'll do it. And so they were very accommodating. We developed this fund, and it's sent about 21 students to date to various conferences. The biggest thing with student research is it's just such a challenging and unfamiliar territory for a lot of them. You're not sitting in a classroom, you're not being fed what you need to know. It's not a simple multiple choice test. There's a lot of room for change and a lot of room for growth and exploration that's placed on the students. So it's not something that teachers are telling you to do or faculty's telling you this is what's going to happen, and it's this exploration that I think is just so enlightening and exciting that you don't really get that experience from anything else. The night before, I was in this office sobbing. I was just completely breaking down because I felt like I was trying as hard as I could to get students to care or get students interested, and I just felt like it wasn't enough. I felt like I was failing. Not that students didn't care, but they cared maybe in a negative manner. And I was really struggling that we weren't being effective as a student association, we weren't being effective as student leaders, and it was hurting. It was making me physically sick. I just didn't know what to do, and that was a little bit of a dig. I will completely attest to that, but that article just stated a lot of what I felt, a little bit held back a little bit, but it stated a lot of what I was feeling, that I just felt like I was trying a lot and trying to get students involved and get students to care, and I felt like it wasn't really reciprocated. And PUC is such a big aspect of my life, I took it personal. I think there's always going to be a certain level that you're just not going to be able to eliminate. I think the easiest way to alleviate it is just to continue to put on great events. I wish I hadn't have been such a pushover. I wish I had stuck up for myself a little bit more. I think I should have stuck up for my SC officers a lot more in certain regards. I think there's a time and a place for everything, and I definitely need to develop that understanding more, because as much as SA represents students to administration and we represent the student body, we also need to make sure that we don't abuse that privilege, that we represent ourselves as well. And I definitely, looking back at this year, wish I had ruffled a few more feathers.